All right, everyone, welcome to another summer training vlog. We're out here in the track today. Should be a good sprint session today. We actually have a new piece I'm going to be adding into our sprint sessions today. It's called the Fire Pod. I'll give you guys a little bit more insight on that today, but it's like a GPS unit that's going to be able to track my speed, time, and give me a little bit more information, kind of like the 1080, but kind of being attached to my body instead of having it being the machine, so it can kind of use it anywhere. We're going to try starting with it outdoors today and then go indoors to the cost center to see if how it works with indoors, or as if it has to be kind of more of like an outside to get that GPS signal. So we're going to give you our dynamic warm-up. We're going to go through our bounds today and all that, and just kind of give you a little bit more in-depth view of kind of what my track sessions here are looking like on Saturdays. This is going to be the last training day of this phase. Next week we're going to kind of split it up, and I'll kind of go through how we're doing our training for that week. Just got through our dynamic warm-up. I'm going to take you guys through our rudiment hop series, our bounding. We're going to go hands on hips, regular bounds, and then we'll kind of break down how we're going to set up our resisted sprints today. Hands on hips bounds are starting to feel so much better, of like just getting full extension, being violent through the ground, and really trying to propel myself down the track. Really liking how these have come in the last 4 weeks of our training here. So we're going to do 2 sets of regular bounds. Then I'm going to show you guys a little bit about the Fire Pod that we'll be using today with our 1080 sprints, and then our timed 20-yard sprints. So next up is our resisted sprints on the 1080. We're going to be using the Fire Pod today during our resisted sprints and during our time sprints. This is a little GPS unit that's going to track miles per hour, time. It can actually give me splits from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, all the way up to 60 yards, or we think you can go up to like 100 meters with it. Pretty cool device. Was able to talk to a couple of people that work there, and really something I think that would be nice to have when I don't have the opportunity to bring out the timing gates or have the 1080, but still have something that I can keep tracking like miles per hour and speed. So we're going to wear this. It's kind of set up like in a little bit of a sports bra kind of similar look to like the catapults we'll have, but throughout our training session I'll try to put some clips in from the phone or from the tablet of like exactly what the data is looking like. All right, so we're on our first rep of our 1080 sprints. We're going at 11 kilos today, so that's going to be roughly about 30% body weight. If you look at the conversion, it's going to put me at like roughly like 69-ish pounds of resistance, because we'll go into a little bit more detail later about how the 1080 and like a sled or chains is going to be slightly different in resistance. So first one, 11 kilos, and then we'll kind of look at the Fire Pod to see kind of what the difference is. All right, rep 1, 1080 had me at 11.14 miles an hour. On the Fire Pod, we got to 11.2 miles per hour, so not too far off the distance. One thing I am noticing is when I measured this out, The last cone is set to 15 yards. The distance said covered for this is only 12.9. So kind of figuring out when is it going to start tracking. Am I losing 3 yards on the beginning of my sprint till I'm reaching that point at 2 meters per second before it really starts calculating? So interesting, kind of cool to see the miles per hour. Very similar, not too different from the 1080 to the FirePod. But we're gonna keep going. We got 2 more reps of our resisted sprint, and then we got 3 to 5 time 20s, which I'm really curious now without resistance, looking at the time and gate time versus the FirePod time. All right, so we're gonna hit our first 20-yard sprint. We got the gate set up. We got the FirePod on. We're gonna kind of see the difference between time, and really curious to kind of see the miles per hour that I'm getting off of this FirePod. Just got back home from the track. We're going to get our lifting session in next, but kind of just want to dive in a little bit to the FirePod, my kind of first initial thoughts of it and all that. I really like the concept behind it. I love all the data points you can get on it. Being able to see that max speed per rep is really cool. But in terms of comparing it to the timing gates, the times don't seem to be totally too far off, but I will say it doesn't seem to be exact, right? So I got one of these pulled up. It was a 20-yard sprint. Actually, that was probably one of the timing gate ones. All right, so here. It's going to track everything, right? So once I run through the gates on those 20 yards, right, which I'm really trying, like that's my speed session, right? 20-yard sprints. It's still going to calculate the following distance till I think I'm slower than 2 meters per second. And then it kind of like figures, all right, you're no longer running anymore. So on this rep here, it said duration 6.2 seconds, total distance 37.8 yards. Gives me my max speed of 1673, which I think is based on this. The fastest I ran today was the 1673. It's got my splits in yards. So from 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, it's giving me that 35. This was saying I ran 3.53 seconds in my 20, where, I mean, here it probably would have been a 3.213 time on the timing gates, right? So trying to look at what times actually matter, how fast am I getting. I think it's going to be something where if I am using the FirePod more, which I still need to see if I can get a GPS signal on it when we're either in our indoor or inside the weight room at my full-time job, because that's honestly where I sprint the most. Like obviously summertime, the weather's nice here. I want to get outside and be on the track as much as I can. So if I can't get a GPS signal in the building, that's for me going to kind of be a no-go with trying to use this in the future. It's also cool that it'll give you like your 10 to 20, your 20 to 30. So if you did want to look at like a fly time, you can get those in. And the fly times honestly seem to be more in line with the numbers I was hitting on my sub max day on day 4 of our training block for this. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I want to play around with it a little bit more and kind of see how's the data compare. If I'm running faster on the timing gates, like those numbers are dropping, how is it showing also on the fire pod? How is it dropping? But definitely a really cool piece of technology that I'm excited to dive into more with. But like anything else, it's kind of learning it. How do I use it the best in my training? How do I take that information and ask better questions of how can I alter my training to then hopefully reach the goals I'm trying to do in my training? So that's it for the track session today. We're going to lift now. Not sure if I'm going to film any of it and add it to this training vlog. I might just keep this as a sprint training one, which I think will be pretty cool. But who knows? You guys, when you see it after this clip of me talking, if there's lifting afterwards with a sweet montage, cool. And if there isn't, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and look forward to the next ones that will be more. Actually, won't be more. It'll be our next training phase. So we've got a new 4 weeks coming. Strength is really going to be a main focus and really hammering our sprint to improve those KPIs. So accelerations is going to be more focused on power versus heavy. And we're going to be doing a lot more time sprints, really just focusing on those 20 yards and how can we make sure that we're improving that time and getting better at that 20-yard sprint.